What is going on, guys? We are here, Season 3, Week 1, and we are changing things up a little bit with our track guide series this season. So, a couple of new series and cars that we're going to be using, and yeah, looking forward to it. A slightly different video format. We're still going to give you the hot lap and the walkthrough. Just going to slightly change things up a bit. Obviously, you get to see my ugly mug at the start of the video. So we're going to kick it off with the Ferrari 488 GT3 Fixed Challenge Series. So today we are at Watkins Glen Boot. So we will fire straight into it. So thanks for watching, guys.
You've just done a 146.06. Last lap time was a 145.79. Sector 3 time is quick.
Okay, guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as you're coming down into turn 1, right, you want to get as close to the left-hand side of the track as possible. You're looking for that 200-meter board. You want to get the left-hand tyres between the grass and the white line just to give yourself the full track width possible. 200 meters, nice big brake pressure. You'll be 5th gear, back to 3rd gear, right? So as you come down, 4th, 3rd gear, then turning point, it's kind of hard to spot because you're going downhill and the car cambers, or the corner cambers into the curb, and then it sort of continues with a bit of banking until it levels out on the exit. So I like to turn in quite early here, if that makes sense. So I want to get right down into the camber. So I actually use a little tiny bit of curb to help rotate. So you'll see how there's 2 phases of the curb. I want to stay on that bottom one, but I don't mind just getting up on that little bit of a crest just to help rotation of the car a little tiny bit. And then as soon as I get to that apex, I'm back on the throttle as hard as I can be. The car's going to track out right. So this is where it gets tricky. As long as you have your 2 right-hand tyres on that yellow line bitumen part, you won't get off track. So you can use quite a bit of the circuit. I like to try and put myself just with a little bit of grace about this here. So I kind of follow the crease in the curb as in line with my driver view. So then I kind of know I've got a little bit of tolerance there if I need it, but at the same time, I'm in the margin of the racing track. So, and up through the gears, nice and aggressive, hard on the throttle. Turn in, chase the curb up the corner. Then as you come off of here, stay to the right to open up the next part of the corner. Still full noise. Then get nice and close to this curb and then aim for the end of the fence. And sort of diagonal across the track. Nice and close to this curb the whole way around. And then straighten it up and head towards the left-hand side, getting ready for the big braking zone at the bus stop. I say big braking zone, it's actually not that big. So as we come in, I'm braking at the 200 metres, just like a foot before this extra bit of white line on the track. And then as I turn in, now you'll see different lines through here in different cars. I've found that I can take quite a lot of curb in the GT3 car when I build a setup. With the Ferrari Challenge set, I can't use the curb as much. It picks the rear up and it flicks it sideways real quick. So what you want to do is come in, and you sort of, as soon as you get to that white line, you start to sort of diagonal the car at the corner. By the 100 metre board, you want to be kind of in line. Now here, I only use about this much curb. So when I'm in other cars, I'll be nearly touching the Armco fence. But yeah, in this, I definitely have to not be as greedy with the curb on the entry. So then as you come off the curb, you want to come straight across the circuit. Same again here, use half the car over the curb. And then you want to try and get the car to set here. You don't want to go out wide to the edge of the road or anything like that, because you're going to quickly be rotating the car back at the corner. And same again here, use half the car over the curb. And then carry the speed across. All fourth gear through there. So 6 back to 4th. And then you sort of modulate. You can enter the bus stop in 5th and then go to 4th in the middle of the bus stop, if that helps. But I'm finding going back to 4th through here, and then this little square here between the end of the bus stop and the bowl, stay in 4th gear. You're going to nearly breach the limiter, but you want to stay in line with this sort of marking of bitumen sealer in the middle of the track. And then you want to start turning the car quickly at the corner, and you want to get to the curb and you want to hold it and roll the car through, trailing the brake. Once you get to this sort of telegraph pole after the little side road, escape road bit there, this is where you start to pick the throttle up. And then once you pick the throttle up, make sure you stay on that curb. If you're off the curb even by a foot, you're going to push wider and wider and wider. So you need to make sure you're on the apex and actually over the curb and bouncing on the curb. It will help the car to rotate ever so slightly, and you'll have more confidence to push. Once you get past the flag stand, the car's going to start to push off the corner, and you're going to end up coming right out to the edge of the road here. So all of that usage is allowed. Then as you come down the hill, now this one's a bit of a tricky one. Now there doesn't look like there's anything really going on for a marker. I'm using this little patch of bitumen and I'm braking about a car length before it. That's where I'm finding is about the limit of what I need to get the car to rotate in. I stay out wide. 5th, back to 3rd. Then pitch the car in once you get to the flag stand. You want to get right to the curb. Pick the throttle up. The car's going to get a little bit of understeer off of this point here. You're going to feel it start to push towards the flag stand. Just keep in it. It will rotate, but you've got to be gentle with it. Use all the curb on the exit. And then keep the foot flat in it all the way down here. Now this one's a bit of a tricky one, and it's a very unique corner. The car balance shifts mid-corner here, so you've got to be careful. So 100 metre board. Nice big brake application. 5th back to 3rd gear. Now, as I turn the car in, I actually don't go near the curb. I let the car run not wide, but sort of this point here, mid-track. And then as I start to pick the throttle up, then I start to turn the car back at the corner. Get right nice and close to the curb, 3/4 of the way through the corner. This is just going to help you with your exit speed. You're going to be on the throttle flat. The car's going to drift out to the edge of the road, but you're not going to use any more than the end of the road. And then you're able to carry more momentum down this little tiny back straight into the next corner. Same again here. This one looks pretty easy on paper, but it does catch a lot of people out. So I'm braking about 120 metres here, because you can brake at 100, but it's going to overwork the rear as you turn the car in. You're going to be carrying a little bit too much momentum. So definitely, like on a quali lap, you could maybe squeeze 105 out of it, maybe 100 if you're really good on the brakes. But I'm finding definitely in race pace runs about 115, 120. So nice brake marker here. Back to third. Now, see how the white line sort of stays in, but the bitumen goes out a little tiny bit? It's only a couple of mil. That's when I start to turn the car at the corner. Nice and early. Get the car right down to the curb. Two wheels not on the curb, but as close to the curb as possible. And then once you come, it's like a double sort of curb point. Once you come off the first curb point, pick the throttle up nice and aggressively. The car's going to slide all the way to the edge of the road. Use the curb, use a little bit of the bitumen over the back if you have to, then chase it back up the hill. Same again here, no brake marker at all for this one. So I'm sort of using this point here. I know it's not really helping you guys because I don't have a marker as per se. There's nothing on the fence either side. You know, so it is quite challenging to sort of get that marker here. What you want to do is you're coming up here, fourth gear. You brake quite late, obviously, because you're going up the hill. You just want to knock it back to third. Stay not wide, but you want to be sort of on the right-hand side of the road. Once you get to this point here, start to rotate the car at the corner in third. Now you want to miss the start of the apex. Once you're sort of getting in line with the flag marshal stand in front of your driver's view, that's when you start to aim for the curb. Clip the curb, let the car run out right to the edge of the road, and then up through the gears to fourth. I hold fourth here. It cracks the limiter, but I just find it's a little bit better for me. 100 meter board, slight lift, get the car to rotate in, then pick the throttle up again. Clip that curb just, and then slide the car right to the edge of the road. Use all the curb. Now this one's the same. So I'm braking at the second go bowling white sign on the inside here. So you can't see it because my little board. So we've just driven past one, and right now there's two. Just past in line with the top of the A pillar, you'll see it. So that is my marker for the last corner, I guess you could say. So fifth gear, and I'm finding sort of, actually no, sorry, fourth gear. Yeah, your fourth gear through here, and I'm going back to third. So it's quite a tricky corner in the way that you've got to approach it, because there's 2 or 3 lines you can take. I'm finding that if I can get the car to turn in nice and early, I'm able to pick the throttle up early. I slide closer to the fence, but I'm actually carrying more momentum out of the corner. So third gear, I start to turn just before the traffic light on the fence up here. So as we get closer, I'm turning right now. I cross the yellow line of the pit entry sort of line, because you're allowed to. Get nice and close to the curb. Once you get to the curb and the car starts to line up with the monster sign on the go bowling part, that's when I pick the throttle up full noise, carry the car all the way out to the edge of the road, and head down for the end of the lap. And there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough track guide for the Ferrari 488 at Watkins Glen Boot.